Hey, my name is Steven and I'm making a 3D light puzzle platformer game called BOXMAN. This game is inspired by the early works of Media Molecule's Little Big Planet and Tearaway. You play as a little sentient cardboard box character called Box, trying to save their friend who has been kidnapped by a mysterious colossal figure. On this journey, you meet a wide array of characters and see a vast amount of different locations, all in need of help. Someone to save them from the mundane, a benevolent force that has swamped this once cheerfully crafted world. Luckily, this box came with a hero inside, and a lot of packing peanuts. I've been working on this game for the past 8 months by myself, but before I show you what I'm up to, I'll need to catch you up to speed with what I've already done. I wanted the character of Box to feel responsive when interacting with their environment, but also to stay true to who the character is. I've created the typical basic idle, run, jump mechanics that most players are familiar with, and I decided to reduce the amount of airtime control slightly, just as this game won't have particularly difficult platforming sections. This is as of currently, this may change in future development. I also added a grab system. This took me quite a while to figure out due to how I wanted the mechanic to function in the world. I wanted to utilize the same system when it came to dragging, pushing, and swinging off things. There are a few things like the animations that I need to finish and implement, but at its base, it works. I plan on adding 4 additional abilities in the future as well, which will build upon the mechanics shown. As this game is chapter based, I'm planning on utilizing a similar system to how Rayman Legends presents the player with new abilities. At the start of each chapter, they are presented with a new ability. The first level acts as the tutorial of the ability, whilst the remaining acts as the refinement. Then the final boss level acts as the final test of the player's understanding of the ability. The only exception to this rule are the first and final chapters. Since the first chapter will be teaching the player the main mechanics, adding an ability here may overwhelm the player, and the final chapter will be the test of every ability put together. As the player makes their way through each level and chapter, they would encounter a plethora of characters that may assist the player by directing them towards certain checkpoints or assisting them in puzzles, whilst the others may attack the player in an attempt to stop them. Currently, I only have one set of friendly NPCs and enemies. NPCs in the game will either take on a stationary informative stance, signified by the glowing exclamation mark, or a random roaming character. This is done to make sure that all important NPCs will be always accessible to the player if they need any assistance with puzzles. To help differentiate between good NPCs and enemies, all friendlies will be fully paper-crafted animals, whilst enemies will sport a more robotic design with more emphasis on electricity. So far, I've only got this paper-crafted beaver, but I'm looking to not only make more varieties of this beaver type, as well as many different types of animals, like turtles, birds, and mole rat characters, just to name a few. The only enemy I've got so far is this single-eyed, single-wheeled robot that charges towards the player once they've been detected. All enemies will have the same weakness, their battery. The player will need to somehow remove the battery to permanently disable the opponent. Each enemy will have a different weakness that exposes this battery. For this character, there's a couple ways of defeating them. Either by moving out the way at the last minute, then ripping out the battery while they're recovering, or leading them into a static wall or movable block and stunning them. The latter option is encouraged, as the stun time is significantly longer when they've hit something. As mentioned briefly before, the game will run off a chapter structure, with 4 levels per chapter, the 4th being the boss fight, and having 5 chapters in total. Just to clarify, this is my initial estimate of the story. There may be some changes down the line, but I'm hoping not too much. As for the play length per chapter, I'm not entirely sure so far. My demo level plays around 5 to 10 minutes. What do you think? Is this a good length per level, or should it be longer or shorter? What am I working on now? As I created the original demo for this project you're seeing now hastily between the months of June to November last year, I have a lot of minor technical bugs that need fixing before moving forward. Though these are minor bugs, I want to remedy them as soon as possible, as some may cascade into large problems down the road, such as poorly optimized systems. But more excitingly, I'm going to be working on some of the new abilities, such as the magnet, which will allow the player to grab onto metallic objects. I'll explain more about its functionality in the next devlog though. I've also employed a couple of my friends from university to help with the creation of this game, to help mostly in the art, music and writing departments. As I've just graduated university with my Bachelor of Game Design and Digital Experience Design, which is just UI, UX and website development, I've decided to allocate some time per week to work on this game, whilst I also look for employment elsewhere. To help keep myself afloat, of course. So I'm not too sure how long it will be until the next devlogs. I'm hoping to do one once a month, as I'll probably have a lot of progress to show per video, which will hopefully make it more entertaining. Well, now that you're all caught up with the development so far, I want to know what you think of the project so far. Is there something that seems off? Is there any tweaks to certain elements that I should make? Do you have any cool ideas for mechanics? Do you like the idea in general? I mean, if you like the idea, why don't you just leave a like and subscribe and keep up to date with all my future devlogs? Alright, that's all from me. I'll catch you in the next one.